and hoping for the very best for their children. I know how teachers are on edge and really hoping that what they've done with these kids over the past 3 years will yield and bear fruit. I know how much is riding on this for students. In fact, for them, this is the biggest exam of their lives so far, and there is a lot riding on it, and so our thoughts are with them. All we want is for them to do well. That's all we want. And so today we want to spend a bit of time talking about that. West African Examination Council is administering the exam as always. We're joined by Agnes Tekujo, who is the public relations officer for WAEC. Madam Tekujo, good morning and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right. So obviously we're gearing up for the BECEs. Talk to us about the preparation that WAEC has gone through for these exams.
Okay. The council has printed, packed, and distributed papers for the examination. We have also briefed supervisors. The vigilators have been briefed as well. We have briefed our deputies, and we have sent our team of inspectors around the country to be on the ground to monitor the examination.
Right. The largest numbers are in the Ashanti region, where there will be 55,829 students sitting the paper, followed by the Greater Accra region with 50,815. Talk to us about the deployments there and the preparations.
Yes, we take into consideration the candidature for the examination in every preparation that we do. I think that the figure that you mentioned, but a Greater Accra is 105,000.
Right.
539.
Yes, I was reading the wrong column. Those are just the males. So yeah, a Greater Accra is 105,539. And Ashanti region is 111,432. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Exactly. So everything has been done accordingly.
All right. Now, obviously, leaks and cheating are always issues of concern when it comes to any exam. What have we done to make this year's BEC leak-proof?
We have done a few things differently to ensure that we safeguard the integrity of the examination. As the exam progresses, I'm sure you will get to know, and we'll also let members of the public know after the end of the exam what we have done. We have also invited the National Intelligence Bureau to help us to monitor the examination, because we don't want any disturbances or any persons to try and then thwart the conduct of the exam in any way. So these are some of the arrangements that we have done to ensure that the examination goes on successfully.
There were some calls for WAEC to look internally to ensure that your people are not the sources of some of these leaks. Have you done that exercise, and what did you find?
Investigations are ongoing. Even the national security is part of the investigation. And during the printing of the BEC, we had the National Intelligence Bureau at the press where the question papers were printed.
Right. So investigations are ongoing. You haven't actually uncovered any leaks or arrested anybody or interdicted anyone?
No, not as I speak.
Right.
Madam Tekujo, my name is Mama V. Just checking on the back of the tidal waves that hit some of the communities in the Volta region, with some schools affected. Has there been a decision from WAEC in terms of conducting examinations in some of the specific areas?
We conduct those examinations on behalf of the Ghana Education Service. We have not received any contrary reports as to the inability of candidates within those areas to take part in the examination. So the examination is being conducted as per the earlier plans that we had.
That's interesting. So what you're saying is that in areas like Keta, where we are aware of some specific difficulties that the candidates are facing, WAEC has not been informed of these by the Ghana Education Service.
You know that the candidates write the examination at specific centers.
Yes.
So if there is nothing that stops them from writing at that center, and the candidates can get to those centers safely, the examination will be held in those areas. If we have received reports, the last time I checked on Friday with our regional manager as to whether we had received any reports of challenges in those areas, we had not.
Right.
So I think that if we had, we would have gotten wind of that and alternative arrangements made.
So as far as WAEC is concerned, the exams will be held in these areas where the flooding happened, because there are centers to which the students can they can access these centers safely, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you very much for giving us these updates. Madam Agnes Tekujo is the PRO of WAEC. Thanks very much for your time with us this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity.
One of the things I discovered when I went to Fuboma, because, we went back to the classroom. You remember the story that Maxwell told of the classroom that has completely collapsed. We realized there was a date on the board. The last date, perhaps a teacher wrote that, 27th of October. And interestingly, they were counting down to the BECE. And the last countdown was 10 days. But I was looking for a candidate to speak to. And a parent informed me that they had gone to the other community, the closest community. So they had moved from Fuvama to Anyangwi, I guess, to prepare for today. And from what we heard from Agnes, there won't be a center in that community. Maybe that's why that hasn't come up or shown up on, as a place with difficulties so that they can conduct exams there.
So it will go ahead. They will be able to go ahead.
Well, they had relocated, so the children, they told me they had sent them to Anyangwi to prepare for the exams.
Okay.
What I don't know is if they are living with other families so that they can go and write the exams every day when they have a paper.
Right. Well, look, our thoughts are with all of them. And, I don't know if you remember the last time you wrote an exam, in secondary school or even in university. But, it can be a nerve-wracking time. We all had different ways of preparing for exams.
Especially the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your very first big exam, where everything is riding on it to determine which school you will get, you qualify to attend, or whether or not you'll be able to go to your first choice or second choice, So there is a lot riding on this. Some children's futures will be determined by how they do in this exam. So there is a lot riding on it. And I remember when I wrote my common entrance exam, I was so young. I was 9 years old when I wrote common entrance. So I was a couple of years younger than all my mates. And I remember I was okay. I was a good student. I was top of my class, but I struggled with maths. And and my father decided to take it upon himself to teach me. I think it was ratios that I was struggling with, and he decided to teach me ratios. Now, my father is, we have people who travel from the United States to come and thank my father for being such a great lecturer and teaching them so well. He has never been so frustrated in his life than when he tried to teach me ratios. And I remember after that frustrating time, when finally I got it, the day of the exam, the day of my maths, going to write the maths common entrance, he told me, forget about everything I taught you. No, first he said, what do you remember about ratios on that morning? And I told him what I remembered, and he said, okay, take only that. Forget about everything else I said that day, and take only that, what you remember. And I think from that I learned a lesson that I always use in exams. When the day of the paper comes, it doesn't matter what you didn't read. It doesn't matter what you didn't get the time to learn. None of that matters. All that matters is what you have read, what is in your head, what you remember, what you understand. That is what you must safeguard. That's what you must have at the tip of your fingers. And when you go into that exam room, don't look to your left, don't look to your right. Just build a cocoon, be in it on your own, think about what is in your head, read the questions twice, 3 times, 4 times. Read the question, understand every word before you start writing. That's my tip for all the young people who are going to write this important exam today. Only think about.
Okay, so this would go to parents. One of the things I enjoy doing school, and when they're writing exam, they would still tell me how it went, mommy, and we would share. They would talk about the mistakes and how I could have done. Listen to the mistakes, but don't remain there. You know.
So I remember that years ago when I wrote my BEC, first paper on the 3rd of, I mean, our time would start at 8 o'clock. And, you know, people would be, I remember everything I've been taught over the period. Of course, you know, composition and all would come, and so you're prepared, you've done all and go ahead. And, you know, you've done all the preparation now, and there's nothing important.
Yeah.
Those who have been engaging in cheating. You see, the problem with the examination in this, I'm not saying, examinations are bad. I mean, our lives are not dependent on examination. But in Ghana, we've made it such that when someone is going to sit an exam, he feels, if I don't get this, if I don't get 6 all ones, for instance, it means I am not a good student. And that's when the cheating comes in. Okay. There's one thing I learned in school, and it was something I learned when I was going to when I was going to the university. When I was going to the university, I was told, don't just come home with the first class, but come home with knowledge. It is the reason when I went to the university, I was involved in student activism. I was involved in a lot of things I never did in secondary school. Because in secondary school, I was thinking my whole life is dependent on this. Yeah. There is more to what you may do. Look, you may not get the 6 ones or the 10 ones that you want, but the knowledge you would have acquired would go a long way in making you a better person. You wouldn't realize it today.
Yeah.
But when you grow, you then would appreciate that, okay, so I learned this in junior secondary school or junior high school, and I still remember it because you learned or studied not just to pass your exam, but you studied to be a better person. Maybe that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Good advice. Good advice.
No, I mean, that's a conversation that should be had about our entire education system. You know, we ought to be teaching students to be productive regardless of exams.
Yeah.
You
How
know?
about we do this, guys? Let's give a daily tip, you know, of what we remember.
Because,
Before,
you know, that's a good
yeah,
idea.
Before they leave
There are
home.
lots of papers to be written out
Yeah,
there. So
exactly.
every day we can give them a little something. I like what you said to the parents, you know. They are so anxious when it's this time. But look, you've done everything you can.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So leave it to them.
For those of us who are fifth borns, you know, a lot of our siblings had gone through the exam. And so when you're going, they look at you and they say, okay, all the best, chap. And then and I remember very well when we were going to write the BEC. So I wrote on Marley School campus, where I eventually went to secondary school. I was then at Dura Memorial School. And when we were going, we'll be singing We Have Overcome. Because we would walk to Marley School. And there were 40 of us in a batch. We'll walk, and as we walked, we'll be singing We Have Overcome.
Yeah.
Anyway, some nostalgic feelings. But anyway, let's see
All
how
the
it
best
goes.
to the student and to the parents as well.
Yeah. Listen, this is your opportunity to win. Okay, this is your opportunity to snatch victory from this exam that you're about to write. It's your opportunity to fly.
I came to win, to fight.